And you can maybe sway side to side, just whatever feels good. We're gonna hang out here for another like 30 seconds. Just starting with a little stretch in child's pose. A couple deep breaths. All right, one more deep breath. Let it all out and come up onto all fours. And so from here, we'll just do a few rounds of cat-cow. It's really arching your spine, pushing the ground away, rounding your shoulders. Finding some movement if you want to, side to side. And then pulling your shoulder blades together, pulling your chest towards the ground. Chin up. And again, if you want to kind of rock a little bit into your hips, that's fine. And again, we'll just do this for about a minute. Just moving how you feel. And then we're going to press your heels, press your weight into your toes, drive your knees up into the air into a plank. And we're going to just hang out in this plank for about a minute. And if you want to walk your heels, you can walk your knees up so you can kind of stretch your calves out. Pulling your knees up a little bit's fine. Pushing the ground away, rounding your shoulder blades. Just going to hang out in the plank for another like 20 seconds. So again, you can kind of stretch out your ankles and calves if you want. Ten more seconds. And then we're going to take your right foot and step your right foot up to your left hand. Your right hand. Right foot, right hand. And then you're going to go ahead and place your left knee down on the ground and sit back so you can stretch out your hamstring. And then we're going to come back forward, really pushing your hips forward, pushing your knee forward. And we're just going to rock back and forth, hamstring stretch, kind of like a really low lunge. And then we'll come back into this low lunge, and you'll go ahead and pick that knee up in the air, so you'll be in high lunge with your hands on the ground. And then you're going to take your right foot and step it back, so we're in that plank position again. And then we'll go ahead and drop your knees down and push your butt back into child's pose. We'll kind of hang out in child's pose for a second again. And then we'll come back, hands and knees, up into plank. And then left foot outside of your left hand. Dropping that right knee down, sitting back into that hamstring stretch. And then coming back forward, hands are down, knee can be out, really pushing your hips forward. And again, we'll just kind of rock back and forth between these two. Stretching out your hamstring and then really opening up your hips, pushing your hips forward towards the ground. and then we'll come back into this lunge with your hands down, and then go ahead and pick that back, your right knee up, your back knee up off the ground, and then place that left foot back with your other foot, so you're in a plank again, and then dropping both knees down, pushing your butt back into child's pose. And then coming back to all fours again, up into plank, right leg forward, and then this time we're gonna twist right leg up to the sky. I'm sorry, right arm. And then we'll go ahead and just put it right back down where it came from. Step that foot back into plank, knees down, child's pose. Right back into all fours, plank, left foot comes up, left hand twist. And then we'll go ahead and place that back down, and then your foot can go back into the plank, and then knees down, child's pose. And so we're just going to do that 2 more times on each side. So hands and knees, plank, right foot up, right hand twist. And then right back to the ground with your hand, plank, knees down, child's pose. All fours, plank, left foot, left hand, back to the ground, foot back to plank, knees down, child's pose. 1 more each side. All fours, plank, right foot, right hand, back to the ground, foot back, plank, knees down, child's pose. All fours, plank, left foot up, left hand twist, place that hand back to the ground, foot goes back to plank, knees down, child's pose. Okay, so that's just a little warm-up, stretchy stuff. And the next thing that we're going to do is going to be, I guess, sort of similar, but we'll be staying on the ground on all fours. You don't need your item for this part. And what we're going to do is we're going to do some donkey kicks. So like your leg is just going to kick out. And it doesn't really matter if, I'll demonstrate with my left leg. It doesn't matter if your leg is bent or if it's straight, whatever works, it doesn't matter. The biggest thing is that you're really just trying to get energy by like squeezing your glute. So really just think about like firing your glute, and whatever happens with your leg happens. And so we're going to do 5 and try to be explosive. Just kicking your leg back. And again, if your knee stays bent, it doesn't really matter. Just try to squeeze your glute for 5 kicks. Yeah, nice job. And trying to keep your hips square at the same time. No leaning to one side. And then once you finish that 5 kicks, you're going to leave that leg up in the air. And now you're going to think about extending your heel straight back. And then bending your knee up and around to make a big circle. So heel up, heel out, knee up and around. Heel out, knee up and around. And we'll do that 5 times. And then once you've done 5, you'll switch to the other side. And so we'll do the same thing on the other side. 5 kicks. And again, it doesn't really matter what your leg looks like. Just really squeeze your glutes to get a nice kick. And then 5, extending your heel, bending your knee, pulling it up and around for 5 big circles. And again, as you're doing that, really try to keep your hips square. I feel like even when I'm trying to stay square, by the end of the rep, I'm like leaning all the way sideways. And so it'll be 5 of each thing, each side. And then once you're done with that, we're going to finish it off with 20 shoulder taps. So you'll be in this plank position and then just tap the opposite shoulder with your hand. And we'll do 20 total taps. And again, try to keep your hips square, no rocking back and forth. Each tap counts. 5, 6, 7. And so go for 20 taps. And then get a little rest. We'll rest like another 10 seconds and then we'll do another round. Starting with the donkey kicks. And again, it's per side, 5 kicks plus 5 big circles with your hips. Okay, so I'm going to start my next set. If you need a little bit more rest, that's fine. Or if you already started, that's also fine. With 5 kicks. And then 5 big circles. On each side. Followed up by 20 shoulder taps. And if you want to do these shoulder taps on your hands and knees, that's totally fine. Or you can do them in the plank. A little rest and we'll do a third and final set. Again, starting the sets whenever you feel ready, but I'm going to start my next set right now. 5 of those kicks and then 5 circles. He didn't just headbutts me on his way out of the room. Rude. And then 20 shoulder taps. Little bit of rest after that. We're going to do 3 total sets of that. So once you're finished with your third set, we're done. You can get a little bit of rest. Ooh, I forgot. I already filled this. I almost spilled it. And so the next thing we're going to play around with a little bit, this is when you can use your item if you want to. But for the first round, we're going to try with no item. And we'll be standing up, so you can kind of find just yourself standing. Take your time. Don't get a head rush. And we're going to start doing some squats. And we're going to try to be having most of our weight on one foot at a time. So for all of this, again, first round, no item. I like to start on my left foot, probably because it's my pivot foot, but you're going to have almost all of your weight on your left foot, and then your right foot, the ball of your foot is going to be on the ground, supporting you just like a little tripod. And we're going to do 3 squats in this narrow position. Don't worry too much about your depth, but just most of your weight is on your right foot. This toe is just kind of tapping the ground, and you're going to just squat down, trying to keep as little weight on that right foot as possible. And so we'll do 3 squats like this. And then you're going to take that right foot and you're going to put it out as wide as you can. And again, only tapping the ground, just a little bit of weight on that right foot. And we're going to do the same thing, trying to squat down with just a little bit of weight on that far foot out wide. So 3 squats like that. And as well, the depth doesn't matter too much. Don't worry too much about that today. And then for the last 3, your foot is going to cross around behind you and be in this curtsy position. Again, just the ball of your foot's on the ground. Most of your weight is in your front leg, and you're going to bend your knee to drop your weight down. And so for all of these, your chest stays up and your knee is bending to get you lower. And then after you've done 3 of those, we'll switch to the other foot. And again, just light amount of weight on the off leg for the 3 narrow squats. And then 3 wide. And this might be where you're finding imbalances one leg to the other. That's totally natural, and working one leg at a time is going to help us balance that out. And then we'll take that back leg again, the off leg crossing behind, staying on your tippy toes, bending your knees to get lower for 3 curtsy. Most of your weight on that front leg. Nice work. So it was like 3 of each on both legs. And then between sets, we're going to do some jumps. If you can't jump in your space, we'll have a different option. But for those of you who can, we're going to do leaving with both feet, turning 180 degrees in the air and landing on one foot. And then you can kind of go back the other way, staying on that same foot. Again, working on balance and control. And so we'll do 4 total jumps on this leg. Again, jumping with both feet, landing on one foot. And then we'll switch to the other leg and do the same thing. Jumping with both feet, landing in one foot, planting both feet to jump again. And again, just trying to land that balance, stick that landing, sorry. And if you're in a space where you can't jump, is anyone in a space where you can't jump? Maybe Amy and Ari? Okay, and also this is the type of thing too where you can kind of try to not jump too high and just really work on sticking the landing. So you don't need to be like a big powerful jump, but even a little one, and just really try to stick the landing and find the balance on one foot. It would be 4 total jumps landing with your right leg, and then 4 total jumps landing with your left leg. So 8 all in all. Just some is good. And so for the second time through those movements, we can add the item to not the jump part, but the first part. And so if you feel confident, you can have one item and try to just hug it to your chest as we go through those one leg movements. Taking a little time between sets, getting a sip of water. And so if you have 2 items that are light, you could hold them at your side. I have 1 item, and I'm going to hold it at my chest. And so putting most of your weight on one foot, and then just a little bit On the other foot, we'll do 3 narrow squats. And then 3 wide. And then 3 curtsy. And then we'll switch to the other foot. Three narrow, 3 wide. And 3, reaching around behind, curtsy. Then the jumps are next. Some jumps. And we'll rest a little bit between sets. Might need a little bit more rest because of all the smoky air. It's totally cool. And when you're ready, if you're ready to go, you don't want more rest, just go for it. Go ahead. So when you're ready, we'll get on that one leg for 3 narrow. Get your jumps in. Get a little rest before the next set. And we're gonna do this for like 5 more minutes, so 1 or 2 more sets, depending on how you're moving. And, when you're ready, you can get after the next round. All right, just like one more minute to finish up or rest. All right, as you're finishing and resting, we'll go over the next part. I'm just gonna try to put it in the chat. Yeah. So yeah, I just put it in the chat because it might start to be hard to keep track, because you're going to just have 16 minutes to do as many rounds as you can. And, I'll narrate the first couple of rounds, and then you'll be kind of going, you'll have the hang of it by then. But first I will show you, because we're going to do something sort of new. Oh yeah, and there's Eden. So we're going to do what I'm calling an elevator squat. and split squat. And so the idea of these is like each single rep is actually 3 reps in one at a different depth. And so you'll kind of be stopping yourself and coming back up at a different place throughout the movement. So your elevator squat, it's going to be like an all the way down squat, a halfway squat, and then like a quarter squat. And so that's one elevator squat. And so you'll do that 4 times in the workout. And then we'll do the same thing for the split squats. And he's a little bit in the way for this demonstration. So you'll be in your split. Sorry, buddy, I know. There you go. So you'll be in your split, and you're going to go like all the way down to like your lowest depth, like a halfway down, and then like a quarter of the way down. And you'll do that 4 times. And then you'll switch to the other side and do the same thing. So it'd be like all the way down, halfway, a little bit. And your halfway and your like quarter rep, even your all the way depth is going to look different throughout the workout. And that's also kind of the point. So it's like throughout the time, you're kind of hitting all these different spots in your depth and making yourself stop and come back up again. Okay, questions about that part? Because the rest is a little bit more straightforward. Wow. Oh my gosh, y'all are so with it. Yeah, sorry. I was going to explain the next part. Sorry. Yeah, we're not done explaining. My bad. That was just the first part. And then sit-ups. So we'll do 16, just any style sit-ups, basically. If you got a piece of furniture and you want to anchor your feet, go for it. You want to do it with your item, go for it. And then prisoner means hands on your head. At least to me, that's how I put that terminology. And then you're going to be on both knees, and then you're going to stand up, and then you're going to come back down. And that's the prisoner kneeling to standing. And if you can do this and think, which is hard, you can try to like lead with your right leg, and then on the next rep, lead with your left leg. But sometimes it starts to be hard to coordinate your legs, and in that case, don't worry about it too much. Okay, now questions about the rest of the workout. You're just going to have 16 minutes to keep going through all that stuff. Absolutely. So yeah, again, taking like a shoulder width squat stance, 1 rep of the elevator squat is going to look like squatting all the way down, squatting like halfway down, and then doing like a quarter squat. And that's 1 rep. And then the second rep all the way down, halfway down, a little quarter. That's 2 reps. 3. And then the 4th rep. And again, like each depth might look a little bit different every time, but the idea is that you're kind of hitting 3 levels with each one. Sweet. Awesome. Okay. We'll start pretty soon. Hopefully you have some music where you're at. Or, you can just keep yourself motivated. We're going to go for 16 minutes, starting with the squats in 3, 2, 1, go. And then same style of split squats. So maintaining this split position and going all the way down, halfway down, quarter of the way down, 4 times. And then switching to the other leg, 4 times as well. All the way down, halfway down, quarter of the way down. And then once you've got all of your elevator business done, we're going to do 16 sit-ups. And then 16 of those prisoner kneel to stands. Each one counts. And then once you've finished with those, you'll go back to the top with those elevator squats. And then elevator split squats. And on the other side. And the sit-ups, 16 sit-ups. And last in this round, the prisoner step-ups. more minutes. seconds left. 5, 3, 2, 1.